Looking for a better way for me. Ooh, I'm driving my life away, looking for a sunny day.
Okay, we got all this stuff at Walmart. Are you paying for it? Haley, you paying for it this time? Look at me like you don't know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about, uh-huh. Howdy folks, and welcome to another edition of the Gator Haley Show. I'm Gator. This is Haley. I know it's been a couple weeks since I've last launched an episode. It's just, I'm a driver first. So, that takes priority over any YouTube episodes I gotta do and all this. But I figured, go ahead and do something to kind of do what I call a shotgun, where I'm kind of blasting out all kinds of different things, but keep in touch with you, the subscribers and potential new fans and such. One thing I've noticed recently, there was a couple drivers from a certain company out of Iowa, based in Iowa. I'm not going to mention their name, but they do drive a gold truck. Gold trucks, they're their prominent color scheme. One of them was driving down the boardwalk in the Atlantic City area on the Jersey Shore, and another one got caught on a dirt road that was muddy and wound up jackknifing the trailer. Well, both of them blamed it on the GPS. Yeah, I'm a rookie driver, but I'm going to tell you this much. GPSs are great tools. And they help you, give you an estimate and all that, and as far as like ETA, and let you know certain things. But there's another thing that you need. Atlas. This is a 2018 Ram McNally. This is important too because it helps you plot the routes. It learns where certain bridges and such are. But here's the thing. All these little atlases and even road maps. You see, this is a road map for Pennsylvania. Always get, it's a good idea to get some of those because sometimes they give a little more detail on some roads than the Atlas, because the Atlas is a book and this can kind of condense things as much as possible because you got 50 states and all the Canadian provinces in there, and some of them even have Mexico. But here's a great little substitute, or a great thing that all the atlases, GPSs, road maps, and all that cannot beat. These two eyes right here. If you look out when you're about to make a turn, you look out to your left, or you got to make a left turn, or to your right when you got to make a right turn. If that road doesn't look like it's truck friendly, don't go on it. You might get a dirty phone call or Qualcomm message saying, "Hey, why did you not take that road?" If it's not safe, don't go down that road. Even if it says it's truck friendly on the GPS from your Qualcomm or your phone or whatever. If it don't look safe, don't go down that road. And because the two eyes are better. GPS is no substitute for them. No Atlas is a substitute for them. You still got to use your eyes to drive. And it saves you a lot of hassle. Probably saves your job too. But yeah, always pay attention. And if you got a question about it, find some place to pull over safely. Call whoever you got to call with the company you're driving for. Because you might get in a situation where it's going to cost a lot of money and your job. And the damage done to the boardwalk over on the Jersey Shore, that was a lot. I mean, you're talking several $1,000s plus tow truck, plus having to get the local police departments and construction and all that to be able to get the driver out, plus the cost it takes to repair it. Another thing you need to always look at is time management. There's the big debate right now about the e-log mandate. Well, I'm not a good example of it not working, because I've been getting some miles lately. There's times when, the big thing is time management, and there's times when time management's not your best friend. Like if you had a shipper or receiver. I mean, we could talk about the e-log mandate. I mean, as much as I hate to say it, I don't want a mandate on the e-logs, but I'm a company driver, and I have to use the e-logs. That's what my company mandates, the federal government, and we can push it back, but eventually it's going to eventually happen. But the one thing I think more important is hours of service reform. To me, I don't know. I mean, I feel at the very least, when you're at a shipper or receiver, you ought to be able to pause your time on that clock, on your 14-hour workday clock and your 11-hour drive clock, because if you're stuck at a shipper or receiver, you might be there for several hours, and that's eating into your time clock. That's eating into your hours. And when you flatbed, you not only have to wait for it to load, you got to secure that load. You got to be able to chain it down or strap it down. And in many cases, especially around this time of year when it's starting to get colder, and you get northern climates where there's going to be a lot of snow on the ground and some salt on the road and all that, to protect your cargo, you're going to have to tarp the load. And even in the summertime, sometimes you got to tarp the load. So, to me, I feel maybe that 14-hour clock should be put on pause. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. You got guys who have been in this business a lot longer than me. And, they have their opinions too, which would be different from mine. But we could talk about it on a different time. But there is some reform that needs to be done to the hours of service, whether or not we have e-logs or paper logs or whatever. I mean, the smaller companies, they're going to take a hit. They would need more time because it's an expensive proposition. I mean, you're talking several $1,000s per truck. Yeah, I mean, that costs quite a bit of money. And the smaller companies don't have the money like the big mega carriers. Even some of the mega carriers, if you've been reading, they've been kind of having to make some arrangements for funds to be able to, so they can stay in business. But always look at this. If you're a rookie driver, this business is going to change. I have an uncle that drove for 40 years, and it's a much different industry now than when he started. Hell, it's a much different industry now than it was 5 years ago. We won't even go back 10 years, but even 5 years ago, it's much different now. And it's going to be much different 5 years from now. But you should always be ready to adapt to change, because if you want to stay in this business, and this is probably one of the few businesses or industries where if you're a company driver starting out, you may not make a whole lot of money, but you make it better than you would working retail or fast food or many other jobs starting out. And and it's one of the benefits, great benefits, you get to see the whole country. There's only one state in the lower 48 I have yet to visit, and that's Maine. Hopefully that'll change eventually. But I love this business. So that's a cool deal. But there's always an adaptation to change. And, and you got a lot of federal rules and regulations and stuff like that. Now, to change the subject again, you see my little buddy here, Haley. She's a good service dog. She's, Facebook famous and all. People love her. She's even got a new group for her called Haley's Heroes, so people could share pictures of their pets and service animals and such. And Haley's just kind of sleeping out there. She's watching TV. I got it muted so you guys can hear me, not Adam Sandler. Nothing wrong with Adam Sandler. I like his films and such. But I'm hoping as this show grows that I could be able to talk with other drivers who have service animals or other people who have service animals. I mean, feel free to hit me up on the Facebook or a comment on this show or on my channel. Who knows? Maybe we can, if we run into each other on the road or somewhere, we can sit down and have a chat, and you could be on an episode of this show and say, hey, I was on there when this bozo was only had a handful of subscribers and views. But hey, this is an evolving process, and hopefully get it. You know, as the channel grows and as my career grows and all, we'll see how it goes. I mean, you know, change. You know, the titles change. My parents may change. Haley gets older and smarter and stuff. We'll see how things go. But yeah, this is what, like I said, this is a shotgun episode, so I'm kind of like going from all different directions, just scattered out here. But I'll tell you this much: I want to have fun here. I also want to talk about things like, you know, smart things and such. And give me a second here. I'll tell you one little fun thing I was able to get on the road recently. Hold on a second here. As you can see, I've got this Viking helmet here. I got it at a Love's Truck Stop in Ohio. We're in Ann Arbor, Michigan right now, but I live in Minnesota, so yeah, you got the Vikings. But I'm from Louisiana, so I'm a Saints fan, but you still got to pay respect to the Vikings, and that is a pretty cool society, even though they did a lot of raiding and raping and pillaging and all that fun stuff. Well, not really fun, but you get the drift. But they actually had pretty more influence on modern society than the previous societies, like the Romans and such. And this goes to Red Viking Trucker. Do you have horns? I do. I'm the coon-ass Viking. And Haley over there, she's a real dog, not a pillow. Okay, Red Viking? It goes out for you, buddy. Anyhow, you can pick these up. Now, this is one of the fun things you can get over the road. But remember, just send in, if you want to send in pictures of your service dog to the Facebook group, Haley's Heroes. And until next time, stay safe, stay smart, and yeah, Red Viking, none of us get out of here alive, but I'm gonna tell you this much. Haley, let's roll.
It was the dark of the moon on the 6th of June, and a Kenworth pulling logs. Cab over Pete with a reefer on, and a Jimmy hauling hogs. We was headed for Bear on I-10, about a mile out of Shaky Town. I said, Pigpen, this here's a rubber duck, and I'm about to put...
I'm a road hammer, a white knuckle steel kid jammer, a rig jockey, highway slammer. I'm just